Hello, going to be going through this CodeWars problem where we're counting constants. Complete the function that takes a string of English language text and returns the number of constants. Constants are all letters used to write English, excluding the vowels. So to do this, I always like to do these in Jupyter notebooks. I think it's a little bit easier to prototype. So to start, I'm just going to grab one of these examples. I kind of like this hello world example. And I'm going to move it over to my Jupyter notebook, and I'm going to name this string here S because that's the input to my function. S equals, oops, this. I'm going to start out by writing some pseudocode. Let me just look over it one more time. Complete the function that takes a string of English language text and returns the number of constants. So I want to count the number of constants in this. What I'm going to do is I want to check each letter first. So to do that, to check each letter, I want to iterate over it. Step one, iterate over my string S. Step two, I think it's really just if letter is a constant, add one to a counter variable. And let's just start with that. Sometimes when you're writing pseudocode, you have to go in a little bit more depth. But let's just start with step one. So for x in S, print x. So this is iterating over my string S. So step one is done. Step two, if a letter is a constant, add one to a counter variable. So I'm just going to make a counter variable constant counter equals 0. So that part is done. So if a letter is a constant, that's what I need to do now. So I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. So I could check if the letter is a constant, and looking at a keyboard, there's a ton of constants. Just typing out some of them right now, but there's only 6 vowels. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 vowels. So I want to check if it's not a vowel. So if X not in A, E, I, O, or U, then print X. Let's say also add 1 to the constant counter. Plus equals 1. So what this does is each time it hits this condition, when X is not in A, E, I, O, or U, it's going to add 1 to that constant counter. And I want to print out the constant counter just to see if I'm doing this correctly. And it looks like so H, not a vowel, lowercase l, not a vowel, uppercase L, not a vowel. This one right here, this is the space in hello world. This is an issue, I think. So I think the answer is supposed to be 7, and we're ending up with 8. Yeah. I think of the best way to do that. So there is this thing called is alpha, and I want to see if that will work with us. If or print x dot is alpha, and let's print out x as well. So, and this is what I was hoping would happen, is what is alpha does. I'm gonna pull up the documentation. Is alpha. So is alpha method returns true if all characters are alphabet letters A to Z. Examples of characters that are not alphabet letters, spaces, and then with numbers too. Like, let's try that out with a number. We'll do 23. And we see 2 and 3 are both false as well. So before I check for whether it's a vowel or not, if it's not a vowel, I want to check if it is a letter. So check if letter, if x dot is alpha. And then I want to check if letter is not a vowel. So if it is a letter, then go here. We're going to check if it is not a vowel. And now we get the correct answer, verse of 7. We could move this into one line, both these conditions. So just as another approach to doing this, we could do constant counter equals 0 for x and s if x dot is alpha and if I like to do wrap the whole thing in parentheses. I think that's the better, makes it a little bit easier to read, and x not in a, e, I, or u. Plus equals 1. Print x constant counter. Well, I don't think I like the parentheses. So getting rid of these parentheses, and no, I don't need it. And if I do a lot of pandas coding, so this is, I'm making mistakes. Yeah, there it is. So wrapping the conditions in parentheses and get the same result. I think I could actually do this with a list comprehension as well. So I want to try that. For x and s. Let's just, list comprehensions kind of can be a little bit confusing. So if x dot is alpha and x not in a, e, I, or u. I'm gonna have to Google this. List comprehension, Python, multiple if conditions. Nice thing about Python is you can almost always Google stuff. If no, it's just multiple. List comprehensions are a little funny sometimes. If so, I think I need to get rid of the parentheses. Get rid of the and. Yeah, that just looks kind of, if x dot is alpha. There it is. And then I could take the length of this and get 7, which is the correct answer. I think all we want is the integer to be returned. So let's try and run those. This is the shortest answer, so I'm going to run this. So passed all the test cases. Let's try running it. Oh boy, we had quite a few that failed. So only passed. This is what's kind of fun about CodeWars is you'll pass all these, but then you'll sometimes fail these. A lot of these ones are kind of nasty to read. Let's do this one. So I'm returning 11, but it should return 7. Let's see if we can figure out what we're doing wrong. Okay, so we're getting 11 because we're counting E, A, O, and O because they're uppercase. So I think I need to do X dot lower. So this is going to lowercase x and to check if it's A, E, I, O, or U. Because right now, if it's an uppercase vowel, it's not in this, so it's counting it. So, I mean, we could get the same thing with this. And there we go. So x dot lower is what it looks like. Oops. And run it. Still failing a ton. Oh, I didn't put the x dot lower in. Oh boy, we're still failing some, but we're only off by 1. So let's try and run this. So 12 should equal 13. Now let's see what we're doing wrong here. So the list comprehension is getting 1 off for some reason. Oh, I want to do len plus 1, I think. Because lengths in Python are 0 index, so there's actually 13. No, that's not right. Let's just, yeah, that's not right. Which one is it not getting? I guess is the better question. So we're getting W, we're getting B, we're getting Y, getting L, we're getting P, we're getting Q. Oh, I have an S in here. So let's remove the S. We want A, E, I, O, and U. So passed all those and passed everything. So finally got this one. You see, I came up with 3 different ways to do this. So which way is the best? I think readability is important, but another thing is how long it takes to run. So let's time how long these things take. I'm gonna stop this actually. Make it a little bit easier to read to get rid of the prints. That took 2.73 microseconds. These things will probably be similar. 2.85 microseconds. This one took 2.78 microseconds. So they're all pretty similar on how long it takes to run. I think at that point, it kind of goes down to readability. To me, I think all these are pretty readable. I think I would probably go with this one, just because I had to look up how to do this one a lot of times. List comprehensions are a little bit hard to understand. This one's relatively easy. It just has these 2 ifs. You don't typically see this, but 2 ifs in a list comprehension, but it's not too confusing. This one, just because it's a little bit longer, it takes a little bit longer to read. So that's why I think this one. That's just kind of personal opinion. But that's this problem, and best of luck trying it out. Thank you.